This is Jack Dennett inviting you to Maple Leaf Hockey Talks.
We'd been written out of the playoffs the first part of March. There was 2 or 3 weeks left in the season, and we were trailing New York Rangers by 10 or 12 points.
The voice of star defenseman Tim Horton, recalling a time in Maple Leaf history which appeared to him as an all-time low. But it turned out to be the beginning of one of the brightest eras in the long and exciting history of the Maple Leaf Club. But the time Tim is recalling was a long way from his hometown of Cochrane, Ontario, where he first learned to skate and to play hockey.
I was born in Cochrane, Ontario on January the 12th, 1930, and played most of my minor hockey in Cochrane. Actually, it was high school hockey and grade school hockey, because in those days they didn't have the organized hockey that they have today. When I was 15 years old, the family moved from Cochrane to Sudbury, Ontario, and this is actually where I played my first organized hockey. I played also in the high school league, and the following year we played with a junior A team called Coppercliff Redmond.
Tim's career was one of steady promise and progress, up through the ranks, a berth on the winning team of St. Michael's College, and then to the Leafs American League Farm Club.
When I was 17, I came down to St. Michael's College here in Toronto on an athletic scholarship and played at St. Mike's for 2 years. I had a year of junior hockey remaining when I turned professional and went to play in Pittsburgh.
Then at last, a call to join the big league. But it was an ailing team at that time, a far cry from the illustrious clubs of the early 1960s.
Back in 1957-58, I think we finished in the cellar for the first time in the Maple Leaf Hockey Club's history, and they were trying to institute a policy of, I suppose it was another youth movement, as they had back in the early 50s. And perhaps the problem was that they had too many young players and not enough old players. And I think that you have to have a mixture of the younger fellows and the older fellows, kind of a maturity in there, a balance that is very necessary. We didn't have it in those years, and when Mr. Imlach came along and took over the hockey club, they had made a couple of very important trades. One was getting Bert Olmsted, another was getting Red Kelly, getting Alan Stanley, and getting Johnny Bauer. These are 4 fellows that were likely the most important players on our team in the early 60s. Along with this, Davy Keon came out of junior, and Carl Brewer came out of junior, and it was very close to the time Frank came up too. So all in all, there were a lot of good young hockey players and very good older hockey players, and from there on, things improved very much.
New coach, new players, a new page in Toronto Maple Leaf history. Things did improve indeed and paved the way to Tim Horton's most exciting hockey memory.
We'd been written out of the playoffs the first part of March. There was 2 or 3 weeks left in the season, and we were trailing New York Rangers by 10 or 12 points. And finally, with 5 games to go in the year, I think it was, we were behind New York by 7 points with 5 games remaining. And it was one of those things where we won our 5 hockey games and New York lost their 5 hockey games. And to the astonishment of the hockey world, we made the playoffs. We went on from there and beat out Boston in the semifinals and played Montreal in the finals. And I think that would have to rate as the greatest thrill of my hockey career.
This win over Detroit tonight is a culmination of a long, hard drive to get into the playoffs, when most of the hockey experts had written them off. I can't help but think the spirit and drive put on by this Leaf team this year will go down in the annals of the Maple Leaf Hockey Club as one of their finest moments in a great sport. They are truly a Cinderella team, and it augurs well for the future.
From then on, it was one long road to victory, and in the 1961-62 season, the Leafs hit the top.
Back in the 1961-1962 Stanley Cup playoffs, which was the first year we won the Stanley Cup, I don't think in any series of hockey games have I ever felt more excited or up for hockey games, and it just happened to be one of those periods that you hit every once in a while during a hockey season when every time you shoot at the net, the puck goes in and you score a goal, and if not, somebody else deflects it and you get an assist on the play. At that time, I guess there is a record that I did set then, and this seemed to be the way it was, and every time you attempted to do something, it worked out right for you.
Tim's career now stretches over 14 years with the Maple Leafs, and the seasoned star is entitled to do a little philosophizing about hockey as a career and life as a professional player.
Playing hockey is a full-time job, but on the other hand, you do have a lot of spare time. And I think going to school and education would be a perfect tie-in. You've got something to think about, and you don't just go to movies and become bored with life and to live from hockey practice to hockey game to hockey practice.
As a young player, you can't get better advice or follow a better example than that set by Tim Horton. He's not only an outstanding athlete, but also a man of many interests with the ability to speak clearly on many things and contribute fully to the community in which he lives.
Hi, Ward Cornell here. On this side of the record, we're going to talk with Tim Horton about how to play hockey. And remember, while you're listening, there's 14 years of National Hockey League experience behind Tim's words. You may have heard Tim referred to sometimes as a rushing defenseman. That term is pretty old-fashioned now. Here's Tim with some solid facts on what defensive play means today.
If you rush a lot during a hockey game, it takes a lot out of you. And it's only natural if you expend a lot of your energy rushing that you haven't got as much strength and energy to do the job that you are basically supposed to do, and this is defending your own end of the rink and protecting your goaltender. What you try to do is reach a happy medium. If you see an opening and can rush with the puck, this is good.
Tim Horton is considered one of the strongest men in the National Hockey League. But, as Tim points out, when it comes to checking, it's how you use your strength that counts.
When I check someone along the boards, I like to keep my stick low. I feel that I don't want to hit the other fellow on the head with my stick, and I certainly don't want him to hit me on the head with his stick. When you take someone out in the corner, I like to keep my hands on my stick. It's something like a low cross-check is actually what it adds up to. It's instead of cross-checking the person above their shoulders, you just cross-check them down around their waist, and you can get a good grip on your own stick, and you can get a lot of force behind it, and I think you can slow the player up and take more out of him with a check like that than you can by trying to go after him with a high stick.
Winning is always teamwork, and one of the greatest team plays in hockey is the famous Leaf strategy used by Tim and his partner, Alan Stanley, to get the puck out of the Leaf end.
In our system, we've been fortunate over the last number of years that we've had set defense combinations. I myself feel very fortunate that I've been able to play with Alan Stanley, and between the two of us, we have worked out a couple of little plays that make it a lot easier on both of us. Depending on who gets the puck, if Al gets the puck in our end, he will go around behind our net and stop. When I see him do this, I fade over into my corner. I don't stay out in front of our net. I fade over into our corner, and when they're forward, usually their center man, goes in to check Al, he'll start to come out towards the centerman, and at the last second dump the puck over to me in the corner, and I am usually open and able to come right out with it. If I can't skate out with it, I usually have time to look up and hit one of our forwards with the pass. And this works in reverse.
Strategy, player selection, experience. It takes all these qualities to create a great partnership like Horton and Stanley. And a little bit of luck helps too. Listen now while Punch Imlach, Maple Leaf coach, gives us the background on this specialized player cooperation.
Yes, it was a lucky day for the Leafs when Alan Stanley and Tim Horton were put together. Defensemen must work together not only in getting the puck from the opposition, but also in getting it out of their defensive zone. There are two ways to do this. You can carry it out or you can pass it out. Tim can carry the puck better than Alan, but Alan can pass the puck to our forwards better than Tim. They complement each other not only by knowing what the other person will do, but also by their exceptional abilities. Experience is of great value. Sam and Tim have been playing hockey 15 years. Naturally, when they started, they made all kinds of mistakes, and this is how they learned. So remember, you will make lots of mistakes, but the idea is to profit by these mistakes and not make them again.
Teamwork, precision, strength. 14 years NHL experience. All this plus a remarkable ability to talk hockey so it sounds easy and exciting makes Tim Horton one of your best sources for good advice about Canada's national game.
You should be able to skate. I think this is your prime asset, is being able to skate well. It's something that you cannot spend enough time on. You can never really skate too well. Stick handling is important. You should be able to handle the puck a little bit. You don't have to be Max Bentley and a dipsy doodler, but I think you should be able to control the puck. Passing is important. And something that very few people mention, and that is your knowledge of the fundamentals of hockey, especially in the defensive end of it. I don't mean as a defenseman especially, but even as a forward. I think whether you play professional or just play amateur for the fun of it, I think you'll appreciate the game a heck of a lot more being able to know all about it.
The important points highlighted by Tim Horton: skating, never stop practicing. Stick handling, keep it up all year round. And last but very important, know the game, the fundamentals of hockey. Now, to close off our record, here is Foster Hewitt.
Tim Horton is one of the strongest men in hockey, and he's the Eddie Shore type of hockey player, always driving and is giving his team a lift. He's a born leader, too, and he's also a solid defense player and a truly dedicated hockey player. I would say he's the kind that a coach always likes to have around.
Once again, on behalf of Jack Dennett, Punch Imlach, Foster Hewitt, and NHL star Tim Horton, this is Ward Cornell thanking you for listening to Maple Leaf Hockey Talks. We hope it will help you get the most out of playing Canada's national game.